Good evening and welcome to the Upper Room on BGTV Studios. I'm your host, Patrick Sullivan, and in just a moment, I'm honored to have my new friends with us tonight. I'll introduce you in just a moment. But tonight, as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And if you feel led to sow into this ministry, this is a great ministry to sow into. There's 3 ways you can see on the screen on the website at bgtvstudios.com, Venmo at bgtv-studios, or Cash App, # BGTV Studios. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I firmly believe it doesn't matter what you're going through in life, that the Lord will use someone on this podcast platform to speak to you in your situation, because like I said, I think we have over 40-something shows now of different podcasters, different backgrounds. God is using this platform. I want to thank Brad for giving us this opportunity and the Lord. But tonight, once again, you've heard it since we started this show, but the name of the show is The Upper Room, because out of the upper room came men and women that turned the world upside down. And that is definitely, we have a couple with us tonight that is definitely turning the world upside down in other countries. And I want to welcome my guests to my left, Liz and Jerry Miertschin.
Hi.
And they are missionaries in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And so it's just great to have you all tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I guess let's just jump right in and we can start, I guess, from the beginning. Like, how did y'all meet? How did y'all come to missions? Just whatever you want to tell us.
Well, go ahead.
Sure. So we met at church at a young adults group. We were actually friends for about 2 years. About a year into our friendship, the Lord told me that I was supposed to date him. About a year later, he figured out he was supposed to date me.
We're always slow.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah. And so we started dating, and on our first date, he let me know that he was called to the mission field, and that if I couldn't follow him, then we couldn't continue. And I knew this because we had been friends for so long, and he had mentioned that he was called to missions. And I had to really take that to the Lord, knowing that I was supposed to date him. Mm-hmm. And I had never been called to missions. And so I was like, God, what do you want me to do? You haven't called me to missions, but you're calling me to him. I can tell. And he just let me know, you're called to go where your husband leads. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay, Lord, if this is my husband, I guess we're going to missions. Yep. And so to this day, I haven't been called to missions, but I'm called to him. I'm called to my husband, and I'm called to follow God where he leads.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about you?
I got called at a youth conference or youth camp in high school, and that call ran dormant for a few years. I ran from it for a while because I didn't feel worthy to be a missionary. I had, sin issues and trauma and all that stuff, and I can't be a missionary. I can't even get me right.
Yeah.
And I just had no context for missions at all. So after running from it for a while and running from the Lord for a while, I eventually got to a church that really transformed my life. One Chapel in Austin, give them a shout out. And from there, the founder of our organization that we're under preached one Sunday, and that sermon really revived the call in my life. And I think it was about a year after hearing that sermon that I solidified in my heart that I was going to do missions. And then it was right almost after that I got feelings for her. And then I had that conversation with her, like, hey, this is where I'm going, and you got to go with me or this is over.
I like it.
Yes,
What's the organization you are with?
It's called Mountain Gateway.
Mountain Gateway. Real fast, I want to touch on something that you said, but it's what you started the conversation with. Is, hey, this is what I'm called to, and if you can't go with me, then we can't continue to date. And I don't know why, but I feel like somebody's watching this, that God has called you to something, but you're afraid of what the ones that you want to be in relationships with is going to say. And we have a perfect example here. Like Liz said, she was never called to missions, but she was called to her husband. And so I'm one that firmly believes that if God calls you to a place, it is a family ordeal. Yes. It is not, guess what, as a pastor or preacher, God is not going to call me to go somewhere that I don't take my family with me, and they're not on the mission field with me, so to
Right.
speak, because that's one thing. And I believe you touched on this when you come to Oak Grove and spoke, was that everybody has a mission field.
Yeah.
It's your next step. It's where you're going next, and so. But let's just for a moment. I'm random and ADD, and you'll learn
Let's
that.
go.
But
That's fine.
one thing that kind of stuck with me is you actually, Jerry actually preached at Oak Grove a couple of weeks ago, and you made a comment that it was the first time that you had preached in English.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool that here you are. This is the first time you're preaching in English, but once y'all got on the mission field, and once you started leading people to the Lord and evangelizing and discipleship and just the whole cultural difference in the United States and Mexico, what is the biggest difference you would say in the way that maybe they do church in Mexico and how we do church here?
Oh, man.
There's a lot of
There's a
different.
Do we
lot
got
of
time?
differences.
No.
This could
okay.
be a
Yes,
two-part if we need
We
to.
do have
Yeah,
time.
we do have time. You want to go?
Yeah, I can start.
Yeah.
For a lot of it is just in the way that things look.
Yeah.
Our church is not a typical church building. It's a roof with a concrete pad. There's no walls.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we're meeting on a covered basketball court.
Yeah.
And then like our youth and our kids meet under a different concrete pad with a roof over it. And so little things like that. And then at the end of church, they hand out coffee and cookies, which you don't normally see in an American church. And then sometimes it's having house churches. So throughout the week, we go to the different villages and we do house churches for people who can't come on Sunday mornings, or for people who really just want to reach their local community in a more attainable way. And so we go to someone's house and they invite all their neighbors and their family to come. Sometimes they'll provide dinner, sometimes they'll just provide coffee or snacks or whatever. And we'll either do a Bible study or we'll have someone preach. You have someone leading worship on a guitar, and it may or may not be in tune.
Yeah.
So just little things like that add up that make it look different. But at the end of the day, you're still teaching the same message.
Right.
You're just teaching it to a different cultural context.
Yeah.
We're dealing with a lot of the same demons there as we are here.
Yes.
They just present themselves differently.
Yeah. And what I would say with that is one of the things that really touched me is whenever we were there, so the academy had a missions block where we were in Mexico for a month just doing the missionary thing with missionaries that were already there. And one thing that really touched me is, like, at that point I had zero cultural context, I had no language context, I had nothing. But like I knew when the Holy Spirit was there. And so it's like there's things that are different just in the physical sense, but like she said, the demons are the same. They show up in a different way. Some of them don't, right? But but God's a God everywhere. He's
Amen.
the same everywhere. So
Amen. So you've finally come to the realization that you need to start a relationship with Liz, even though it took a while.
yeah.
But no, we've come to the point where we know missions is going to be our life. Did y'all know, like, when y'all started dating, y'all would end up married, or was that more,
Pretty soon. We only dated
Yeah.
for about 9 months before we were engaged.
Yeah,
so.
we weren't playing around, and like I said, I kind of knew that she was supposed to be my wife, and so I was like, well, if that's the case, then why take so much time and wait and figure it out? We'll just figure it out along the way.
So y'all are in a relationship now. Y'all have decided that the mission field, wherever God leads us, that's where we're going.
Right.
Kind of talk us through, like, what was y'all's next steps, like, in training? How did we go from, okay, we're going on the mission field, we're in a relationship, to where we are today? Like, I know that's a big, broad spectrum,
right.
but
So, we always had the mission field in mind. We got married. We were married for about 9 months before we joined the organization Mountain Gateway. I had a job serving under the organization, but in a for-profit sense. And so I kind of let them make the decision if they want to keep me on at this job or put me into the academy. and they decided to put us into the academy. And whenever they put us into the academy, it's an 11-month process. It's separated into different blocks. There's 2 prayer and Bible blocks, which they go through everything from sermon prep to theology to fasting and prayer and a whole mess of stuff. Then they do, in our academy, we did a missions month after that. So we went to Mexico and we stayed there for a month. And we followed the missionaries around, what they did, and did house services. And really we sat there doing nothing a lot because we didn't know the language. We didn't know the songs or anything. So we just sat there quietly and just learned some patience. After that, we had a technical skills semester. And they basically teach their a hand to heart connection of like working with your hands, doing everything that you have, doing everything as unto the Lord with all that you have, right? And kind of also teaching some practical skills along the way. Like I think they taught us how to change a tire, and sometimes we did we mixed concrete because we mixed concrete there by hand, and we just did some practical things that could be useful on the field. After that, they did a wilderness semester, which is broken up into 3 sections. The first one was outdoor living, which was just almost glamping, but not really because we were still in tents.
Yeah.
But we had, gas stove and a lot of food, and it was nice. And they taught during that a nav course, which taught us how to read maps and navigate through woods. And we were up in
Somewhere in Wyoming.
Somewhere in Wyoming, I don't remember where. And they had us basically dropped us off at this point with a guide, obviously,
Right.
but they wanted us to do it. And they're like, well, get back to camp. And so we did that a couple of times, and our teams did really well with that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then that next part was traditional living. Do you want to go into that?
Sure.
Do you love it?
Oh, yeah, I did. I loved traditional living. I am not an outdoor girl.
Yeah.
But I thrived, surprisingly. I surprised myself. So this was just a time of stripping everything away. No phone, no watches, not even sunglasses, no tents. They gave us a tarp and then taught us how to build a shelter out of sticks and straw and said, have at it. I think they gave us like 2 or 3 days before we had to turn in our tarp and sleep in our actual shelter. Yeah. We cooked all of our meals over a fire. We spent most of the day just building and adding on to our shelters. We did some different techniques for starting a fire. We had a fire starting contest.
Which she won.
Which I won. And we also, I think my favorite part of it was every single day before breakfast, we went out into the woods and we spent probably about 3 hours a day just with our Bibles in the woods. You don't have a watch, you don't have a phone, you don't have anything to distract you or give you a sense of time to make you feel that impatience or that urgency that we so often are stuck with when we're here. Yeah. And it was just such a beautiful time. Stressful at times, of course, because you're
uncomfortable.
You're uncomfortable, and that was a big part of what the wilderness semester was about, is learning how to be uncomfortable, because that is so just it's such a big part of not only our walk with God, but also our walk on the mission field. We're not always going to be comfortable wherever we are, but the Lord is going to work through it.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely, and I don't want to tell too much of the story, but that's also, if I'm not mistaken, where something else happened.
That was
Jerry. Well, I'm gonna set the stage. Jerry was very disappointed and discouraged that his wife was outdoing him in the wilderness part of the trip, and so then Liz, being the very submissive, humble wife she is, she took one for the team to get them out of there. So if you would share that story.
Yeah, so that was actually during our 3rd segment of our
backpacking.
Of our wilderness experience when we were backpacking. So we were supposed to be there backpacking for 7 weeks in the Wind River Range, and we were doing great. We were about 3.5 weeks in. We'd hiked about 70 miles. which is like, to me, I still can't believe we went that far.
Yeah.
And one day we were walking. It was like the ground was kind of soft. It had rained a bunch the night before. It looked like a fairly flat, clear area to me, and I'm just kind of trying to keep up with Jerry and one of our other guys. So I'm trying to kind of hurry up, and all of a sudden, my left foot slips. My right leg gets the message, but my right foot does not.
No.
And so I slip, and I look down, and I just hear Jerry say, "Babe, it'll be okay. Get up." And I said, "No, it's
Didn't even
not.
look. I didn't even turn around.
My
when I
foot
said
is
that.
not facing the correct direction."
Yeah.
So we got a first-class helicopter ride out of the Wind River Range, which is
beautiful.
a beautiful way to get out.
Yeah. And, thank God that there in Wyoming, the search and rescue was free. So we didn't have to pay a dime for it.
That's awesome.
We did donate to the people that got us out because,
Yeah.
thank God. But it was free.
So-
and that was amazing.
So needless to say, y'all's hiking part of the journey was over.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and what was really nice is we actually had to have a conversation with leadership because we were talking like, hey, we got pulled early. Does that mean we're going to have to repeat the semester? Because they want you to, that's so critical, like she was saying, learning how to be uncomfortable. And even during that time in backpacking, they do a whole different section of leadership courses. And so they teach you how to be a leader, how to be a follower, how to get group input, when to be directive, and all these different things.
Right.
And we were like, do we have to repeat it? And our instructor was like, no, we saw everything we needed to see in you the day that you broke your leg. Because we all just kind of pulled together. And one thing we forgot to mention is during the technical skills, we did a wilderness first aid course, so that way we could be prepared in case the worst thing happened, and we were. And so all of our team did it.
That's
and
awesome.
so we were all just into gear, and we got her elevated and her foot elevated, got her warm, and we were all just like doing the thing really well. And then the search and rescue guys came, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
good.
That's awesome. Real fast, Jacob, do you have their information? Liz, if you'll kind of just go over and explain what's on the card and what we're looking at. And
Yeah, so we have a few different things that you're looking at right now. On the left-hand side is just a little bit about us and what we do, what our partnership goals are right now. And then on the top right there, you see a QR code. That's a direct link to our giving page. So if you would like to walk with us and support us financially, that is the way to do it. And then on the bottom right is our contact information. So you have Jerry's email, my email. We have an email list. We have Instagram, Facebook. And we would love to just chat with anybody who's got questions or who just wants to get to know us or anything about the mission field. Even if you're interested in missions and want to learn about our missions program or whatever, feel free to reach out to us. If you would like to follow us on Instagram or Facebook or join our email list, just shoot us an email and we'll get you hooked up with that as well.
absolutely, and like she said, what they do, unfortunately, it takes finances. And a lot of times, I'm just going to be blunt and say it because, as Bo says all the time, it's my show. But so many times when we think about missions in the American church, it's, well, they just want your money. But no, it's like we are helping because like we were talking about last night, I can't go to Mexico at the beginning of February. But y'all are. And so if I can help support y'all in spreading the gospel, that's what it is. It takes everybody. They are just the vessels that God's chosen at this time to send. And so really, if you're watching this, whether it's live or on a replay, I beg you to seek God on supporting our friends here because it truly takes finances. And, they're... I hate to say it because I know they probably don't want to really get into it, but they are so humble that they're not going to come out. But there is a certain amount that they need every month to live and to continue to spread the gospel. And God has not just chosen them to send to Mexico. He's speaking to hearts right now and telling you, hey, I want you to partner with them. And if you can't, that's fine. If you say, well, I'd love to, but I just can't, hey, we can pray for them. So if you can't give financially, pray for them, because that prayers works, and just we want to cover them in prayer. We want to, bless them in any way that the Lord would lead to us. So if that's you tonight, like you said, she's given you their contact information. You can reach out to me. I can get in touch with them or get you in touch with them. They usually may be coming through this area maybe once a year, once every couple of years. They would love to meet you. If you're a pastor watching and you would like to bring them to your church and actually have them talk about kind of what they've talked about on the show, and maybe even talk about the church becoming a monthly partner, they would love to come do that. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they will be in the States till around the 1st of February.
It will be
until about mid-February.
Okay, mid-February. Yeah. See, I'm late to the show too.
It's okay.
but no, I tell you, I've known this young couple for not long at all, but I can see their passion. I can see their drive. It is so refreshing to see someone get a call from the Lord that, hey, not everybody's going to accept it, and not everybody's going to like it. And, one last thing I want to ask before we get off is, for y'all as a couple, what has been maybe the hardest transition to make from living life here to living in a foreign country like Mexico? What is the biggest, and it don't have to be like a spiritual, but just like what's the big, and it could be spiritual, but
for me, it's blending in. I don't blend in there. I can go to any store here in the States, walk in, walk out, nobody notices me. That's not the case down there. You're like, oh, ¿qué es ese gringo haciendo? Like, what's he doing here, and all that, and I don't like that aspect of it. So that's kind of like the biggest thing for me. What about you?
I think for me, it's the little conveniences of living in the U.S., especially where we are. It's a very indigenous area. They don't like modernization. They don't like big changes. And so, yes, we have a couple grocery stores, but there's certain things you can't buy there. Yeah. And the grocery stores don't carry meat or produce. So you go to the grocery store for your dry goods. You go down the street for your produce, or you go to the market on market day. You go to the butcher shop for your meat, or sometimes we have to drive an hour down the road to a little bit nicer grocery store to get some of the things that we need. And
some of the
so
nicer things,
just the little conveniences of life that we have here. Even something as simple as a parking lot at Walmart, which you don't have parking lots where we are. Yeah.
Or if you do, that you got to pay for them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
another reason we need to help finance our new friends is because they have to pay for parking pretty much everywhere. But no, I just want to thank y'all. It is truly an honor to have y'all on. I want to thank y'all for y'all's yes. And I'm praying as people are watching this that you would listen to the Lord and that you would say yes. You may not be the one that can go to Mexico or to another country. You may not be the one but we can support them financially. We can pray for them. We can do whatever we can to help them be the hands and feet of Jesus, because I've had the opportunity to go to Mexico like one time, and I'm telling you, it is I guess like you were saying, just the conveniences. It is such a difference in how we do life in America, and it goes back to, I believe, I could be wrong, but I think y'all may even see a greater hunger for the things of God because they don't have the things that we have in America.
yes.
Yeah.
And, so many times, like I hate to say this as we're getting off this show, but I'm sitting in an air-conditioned studio recording a show where we are fixing to leave and go back to my home where we're going. A lot of times they don't have the conveniences or even the blessings that we have here. And I think so many times we have too much stuff. And so, let's just slow down sometimes,
Yeah.
and let's realize that God has called us to be on mission in every aspect of our life. Like we said earlier, you don't have to go to Mexico to be a missionary.
Yeah.
It is where you're going to be tomorrow. Where are you at right now? You can be. I'll never forget it. And people that we got a minute left. And I'm going to say this real fast. We've got a minute left, but a lot of people have heard this before. But I was 19 when I was in Mexico, and like you, I didn't understand the language. But all I knew is they sang the same song for about 3 hours.
Yep.
Yes.
And I was sitting there. I'll never forget it. I was sitting there and I said, God, I know you want me to get something out of this. Like, I don't understand them, but I see their passion. Like, I see, like, you're not going to get a church in America to sing the same song for 3 hours. Like, just most of the time you're not. And I remember saying, Lord, what do you want me to get out of this? And this was 20 years ago. And I'll never forget that I felt the Holy Spirit say, if something doesn't change in America, instead of sending missionaries from America, I will begin to send missionaries to America. And we are starting to see in different parts of America missionaries popping up to spread the gospel. And so you don't have to be in a foreign country. Impact the world around you.
Yeah.
And so we just want to thank you.
Can I
Yes,
share
you got.
something
Yes,
real quick?
absolutely. Go ahead.
With respect to at least giving, I want to share this story. It's probably one of my favorite stories to share, and we only have 6 seconds left.
Yeah,
but
you're
whatever.
good. I know the producer and the founder.
Yeah. So there was one day, I remember it was in between us from the academy to going to language school. And language school was extremely expensive. And we had to do a lot of support raising during that. And I remember I was there at our local church, and it was just finished a youth thing, and I was talking to one of the pastor's wives, and I was just talking to her. She asked what we were doing, and I told her we were support raising. And she's like, oh, well, I guess we can't, like, she was saying we can't help you all right now because we're moving, and we got this and that. And I was like, yeah, we understand that completely. You can't give what you don't have. And then I remember our conversation ended, she left, and I was still there talking with some kids, and Liz was there to pick me up. And I get a text from her, and she's like, hey, Jennifer's going to support us like $25 a month. And I'm like, I just talked to her saying that like she wasn't going to. And what was amazing is we talked about it later with her, and she was thinking that it had to be like $500 or, people thought that it had to be this massive amount, and that's just not the case.
Right.
You can give what you have, and the Lord will use it. And some of our most faithful givers have been in $15 a month. But there's a lady we don't even know who gives us $10 every month. We can't find her. Like, we've tried.
No information.
No information on her.
No idea who
And
this
she's
woman is. It's great.
consistent. So God bless her.
That is
And
awesome.
Let me give you a little bit of math real quick. Okay, so you may not have a lot to get. You might have $5, $10, $25, whatever. But if I need $1,000 a month, and I know 10 people, or I know 100 people who can give $10 a month, I have $1,000 a month now.
Yeah.
And so don't ever forget that the little can go a long way whenever the Lord multiplies it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, once again, guys, I just want to thank you for being on tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Like I said, for your
Hosting
yes.
us.
Yes,
No,
thank you
it's
for
an
inviting
honor. Thank you for your yes. Thank you, Jacob, for
Yeah.
producing for us today. And we love you guys, and we'll see you next time.